Radio check, radio check. Do you copy? Put your visor down, grip that steering wheel, and completely clear the comms channel because the red lights are about to go out on the most volatile financial circuit in modern history. Welcome to the pit wall, strategists. The telemetry flashing across our main monitors today reads, breaking, XRP market suddenly heats up. Traders expect volatility, and if you are currently sitting in the cockpit staring at the $1.39 spot price, you can literally feel the engine block vibrating. The retail drivers out there on the starting grid are absolutely redlining their engines, completely burning out their tires before the race has even officially started. They are letting the fear of the shifting American political news cycle and manufactured macroeconomic turbulence dictate their throttle control. But down here on the pit wall, we do not react to the noise of the grandstands. We analyze the raw, unfiltered data streaming directly from the chassis. The market is suddenly heating up because the institutional track conditions have violently changed. The legacy market makers are utilizing the perpetual futures markets to apply artificial aerodynamic drag, attempting to stall out the retail engines. They want you to panic, spin out in the first corner, and forfeit your position. To survive this championship, you absolutely cannot rely on copied, unoriginal trading setups. Just like a platform algorithm strictly demonetizing a creator for reused content, the financial markets will ruthlessly penalize and bankrupt any driver who relies on stale, recycled strategies. You must formulate an entirely original, highly calibrated approach. The volatility that everyone is expecting is not a random accident. It is a meticulously engineered institutional squeeze. While the amateur drivers are distracted by the smoke from their own spinning tires, the sovereign whales are aggressively maneuvering through the inside line, scooping up every single physical token dropped by the terrified retail sector. They are accumulating the floating supply with the mechanical, relentless reliability of a Toyota manufacturing plant. It never stops, it never breaks down, and it systematically absorbs everything on the assembly line. The heat you are feeling is the absolute friction of the legacy financial system desperately trying to keep pace with a decentralized hypercar. The track temperature is spiking, the grid is locked, and the massive move is merely seconds away. Keep your eyes strictly on the apex and do not let off the gas. Let us switch to the secondary telemetry channel and analyze the covert pit stops currently being executed by the heaviest institutional teams on the global circuit. The mainstream sports commentators in the broadcast booth are actively pushing a completely false narrative. They are loudly claiming that institutional capital has entirely abandoned the cryptocurrency track due to rising geopolitical headwinds and shifting American regulatory policies. That is a brilliant piece of broadcast misdirection designed to keep the civilian spectators entirely blind to the reality happening inside the private garages. If we bypass the public timing screens and look directly at the raw ledger data of the United States spot exchange traded funds, the true race strategy is blindingly exposed. The heavyweight financial titans commanding these heavily regulated investment vehicles, entities like Bitwise, Canary, and Franklin Templeton, have quietly accumulated a staggering stockpile of over $1.3 billion in physical cryptographic assets. How does a massive racing syndicate secure $1 billion of highly concentrated aerodynamic upgrades without instantly alerting the entire paddock and blowing the roof off the spot price? The answer lies in the highly secretive, unregulated garages known as over-the-counter dark pools. These massive asset managers are not walking out onto the brightly lit public pit lane to execute their billion-dollar acquisition orders. Doing so would instantly trigger a massive price explosion and completely ruin their covert accumulation routine. Instead, they are utilizing hidden liquidity providers to systematically absorb the discarded tokens of every panicked retail driver who crashes out under the psychological pressure. To perfectly camouflage this massive resource grab, those same liquidity entities aggressively short the public futures markets. By driving the open interest into the negative, they manufacture a highly convincing illusion of a brutal, unending engine failure. Furthermore, you must synthesize this dark pool illusion with the explosive scaling of the RLUSD stablecoin infrastructure. The RLUSD network capitalization has aggressively expanded past the $1.5 billion threshold. The legacy banking syndicates are utilizing this stablecoin as ultra-high octane racing fuel, hardwiring their cross-border liquidity operations directly into the Ripple framework. The mechanical burn rate of the native XRP token is actively accelerating on a massive global scale with every single transaction. The engine is primed. We must now elevate our strategic focus and examine the entire international racing calendar, because the momentum triggering this massive market setup originates far beyond the domestic borders of the United States. A master race director understands that a true systemic world championship must be won on a global, synchronized scale. While the civilian sector is completely mesmerized by the minor practice laps on their mobile trading applications, Our international scouts have intercepted critical contracts from the highest echelons of European and Asian financial empires. Weeks ago, we confirmed the highly classified integration of Ripple Prime into the National Securities Clearing Corporation directory, under the undisputed governing body of Wall Street, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. That precise tactical maneuver effectively hardwired the decentralized ledger directly into the absolute beating heart of the American traditional equity settlement machinery. But the new intelligence that confirms the massive building momentum is an unprecedented European convergence. We have empirically verified that Société Générale, the titanic French financial institution commanding nearly $2 trillion in global assets, has officially activated its MiCA-compliant euro stablecoin directly on the Ripple infrastructure. Concurrently, the Japanese banking leviathan SBI Holdings has successfully deployed a massive blockchain-based corporate bond specifically designed to reward traditional retail investors with physical XRP. When trillion-dollar sovereign banking entities voluntarily integrate a decentralized cryptographic ledger into their core operational machinery to settle corporate bonds and stablecoin transfers, it mathematically guarantees a tidal wave of future utility volume. The sudden spikes in heat and volatility are the market algorithms violently attempting to price in this massive international adoption before the retail sector realizes the championship has already been rigged in the institution's favor. The legacy financial system is actively crumbling, collapsing under the unsustainable weight of its own inflationary debt spirals, and Ripple is seamlessly installing the cryptographic fortifications on a global scale. The corporate media is actively deploying psychological countermeasures, broadcasting terrifying macroeconomic narratives tied to American political gridlock to keep the public completely paralyzed by fear. Trust the raw intelligence of the hidden ledgers over the deceptive broadcast. The international heavyweights have taken their positions on the starting grid. Prepare to execute your final racing line before the checkered flag is violently waved, because recognizing the sovereign manipulation and the structural hustle behind this major setup is absolutely useless without a highly regimented strategy for cashing out your victory. We have empirically proven the covert dark pool accumulation by the billion-dollar exchange-traded funds, the exponential utility growth of the RLUSD stablecoin engine, the massive DTCC systemic integration, and the colossal international banking deployments. So, what is the ultimate mathematical destination of this digital asset when the algorithmic illusion is permanently shattered and the prestige is finally revealed? Highly classified macroeconomic risk assessments, continuously refined by elite quantitative aerodynamicists at Tier 1 institutions like Standard Chartered Bank, have established a mathematically grounded baseline target of $8 per token for the conclusion of this specific geopolitical cycle. To the uninitiated civilian spectator, currently psychologically traumatized by months of artificial suppression, an $8 projection sounds like an impossible fairy tale. But to the elite driver who understands the absolute certainty of a violently constricting supply curve colliding head-on with exponential institutional utility bandwidth, an $8 valuation is merely a conservative operational waypoint. However, you cannot successfully navigate this high-stakes digital wealth transition without a ruthlessly disciplined, emotionless framework. Human greed and panic are the ultimate vulnerabilities in any high-speed theater. I strictly mandate the immediate implementation of an automated execution strategy known as the Thirds Protocol. When the network price violently shatters the historical all-time high resistance parameter of $3.84, you must automatically execute a pit stop and sell exactly 33% of your holdings. This unemotional maneuver secures a complete recovery of your initial fiat capital deployment, instantly transforming the remainder of your digital portfolio into pure, stress-free profit. The secondary operational tranche is programmed to ride the algorithmic volatility toward the $8 institutional target zone. The final tertiary portion must be securely encrypted and locked in your deepest cold storage vault for the ultimate long-term macro play. Secure your private cryptographic keys offline immediately using hardware authentication. Thieves are prowling the paddock. Execute your strategy flawlessly, beat them at their own game, and walk away a champion.